Hello and welcome back to Right on the Money, providing you and your family the necessary information you need to make informed financial decisions. Now again, in case you're just joining us, our guest today, Brent Ford, owner of Benefit Wealth Partners, located in beautiful Chippewa Falls. Now Brent, we've been talking about investing, heck, we've been talking about a lot of stuff. And one of the areas that I want to explore is something that I read in one of your articles, and that is, imagine having to pull income out of your portfolio, say in 2008, and the sequence of returns risk. Could you talk to us a little bit about that? It's a big concept, but it's one that I think definitely we should talk about.
Well, the idea behind it is, say a normal retiree is going to take out somewhere between 4 and 6% out of their portfolio in a given year. Let's say it's not 2008, because that's never going to happen again, in this hypothetical, right? So let's just use a more reasonable example.
Sure.
Let's say that the market then that same year falls 10%. Mm-hmm. Well, when that investor looks at their statement at the end of the year with the 5% that they took out with the 10% that the market fell in that given time frame, well, now their account is 15% less than it was the year before. So that creates a very interesting scenario for the following year.
Sure.
Because now we're expecting the market to do kind of atypical things to return that 15%. They probably need somewhere around 17 or 18% just to get back up to principal balance that they were at the year before, but they're probably still going to be taking another 5% out to supplement their income. So the reason that we talk about the sequence of returns and the reason that we focus so much on risk is every time you go backwards, it takes a whole lot more to get that train moving forward again. If we can keep your returns at a reasonable amount, somewhere around what you're planning on taking out every year, and then minimize your risk to at least stay in the single digits, so we're not getting terrifically far out. We don't need atypical years in the market to return your portfolio back to principal balance at the top of the year.
I have to imagine that this is where, so in a segment or two ago, we were talking about emotional investing. And I would have to imagine that if you're an investor out there by yourself and you don't have somebody to talk to guide, that's guiding you through this process, having that kind of scenario, you take 5, the market goes down 10, and all of a sudden you're behind 15, that would be scary and probably would lead to maybe some rash decisions, chasing return, right?
Well, yeah, and chasing return and risk avoidance, and the negative. Mm-hmm. So just to give you kind of 2 examples of why this is important, and I think just from the last maybe 2 weeks of my practice, I had a client got his statement, and he's a big client with us. He has enough money to kind of live comfortably as long as he doesn't go way out of bounds on either side. He saw his losses for the quarter. Obviously they weren't good, but he had no problems with it. So he has a very high risk tolerance within his portfolio. However, his risk tolerance is so high and he's a little short-sighted. The next phone call that he made to me was, hey, I need to take out $25,000 out of my account because I want to buy a Harley from the next door neighbor who's ready to sell it, and it's a really nice bike and I really need to get it. So I had the conversation with him that, look, I understand that this bike is awesome, but let's not do it at the tail end of a really terrible quarter. Let's just be smart about how we're going to finance this purchase, so that your money doesn't run out. And that's a good thing. That's what we want to see. We had a dialogue about it, but that's the kind of opinion that he had right away is, I don't really have to worry about market loss. Brent's taking care of it.
Sure.
I'm just going to go buy a Harley. But on the flip side of that, to kind of paint the other side of the picture, I had another client call me actually on the way to the show today. He looked at his statement, for the last quarter. Obviously, it was a bad quarter. It was a bad quarter all across the board. And he looked at that, and his risk tolerance was so low that his solution to that problem was not to just stay, disciplined and stay in the philosophy. His was, let's just cash out. I want to put that money in my savings account or under my mattress so I can see it, because I don't want to take that quarter. We don't want to do that either. We want to find some happy midpoint between those 2 examples to kind of live our life. And we want to take out a reasonable amount of money to, kind of finance our lifestyle, but not go over or under that amount. So we talk a lot as a firm about the run rate of an investment what your investment can produce on a monthly basis based off of the aggregate amount. That's the number you need to know, and then you need to know if your risk return strategies can achieve that run rate for the rest of your life.
And I think that really, again, that's something I love is your philosophy, that your practice, you say we realize that drawdowns in the market are inevitable, and our goal is to help you manage that. And that really must come from getting to know people and what they want in retirement.
We take a lot of time on the front end of a relationship with a client to make sure that they're going to be a good fit for our firm. We are definitely not a class of advisors that is just going to take orders. That's not us. So I always tell people we have two different paths that we can take. I can be a yes man and agree with you 100%, and I'll be great at it. But
yeah.
Where I find myself a lot better and I can provide a lot more value to you would be to give you good investment advice at the sake of whatever that's going to take. If it's going to create some resentment or some hard feelings because I don't agree with you, I'm at least going to give you my opinion. The bottom line to all this that everyone has to realize when they look at that pot of money, it is your money and you can do whatever you want with it. But the guidance that you're getting on that money is very important. So you have to find people that you're going to identify with and want to work with. And I truly enjoy working with all of my clients, and I'm very excited to work with future clients. But we definitely want to make sure that we're kind of linking up the right way, that we're understanding each other.
Because it really is a relationship.
For us it is. For me it is, for sure. That's one of the things of starting in the business when you're 20 years old, is it's not a short-term game once you decide that this is going to be your career path going forward. So everything that we've built our practice around is the same type of tenets that an investor should be looking at. You're building everything based off of a long-term paradigm rather than a short-term paradigm. We build our practice out the same way. So if you can identify, I tell my clients right now, my clients that are 60, as an example, a normal retirement somewhere between 30 and 35 years.
Sure.
I'm 33. My working career is going to be somewhere around 30 to 35 years. So if we do this the right way, my clients will probably be my clients from the start of my career through the end of my career, rather than we're going to be in a relationship for the next 5 years and then I'm going to retire and then you got to go find somebody else or whatever. So that's one advantage I think that we have of being a younger firm, in this industry, is we have time.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break at this point, and coming up on Right of the Money, Brent is going to talk to us about the questions that we as an investor should be asking our advisor. We'll be right back.